Oak Ridge Church family, it's Pastor Nick, and it's time for our Friday morning devotional time. Now, I'm going to ask you to turn to Matthew chapter 6, and we're going to be in verses 7 and 8 this morning. A few years ago, I had to go to the hospital late one afternoon or one evening after supper, and when I did, I went and I was at the hospital for a few hours, and when I come home, my boys were about ready for bed, and as I came down the hall past their bedroom, one of my sons said, "Hey, Dad." That was all he said, and that's just two words. But in those two words, I could tell from the tone and the inflection in his voice, I could tell that he needed something. I could tell that there was something going on, that I needed to step into his room and just talk with him and just see what he needed. And so I walked in there and I talked with him, and we took care of what needed to be handled. But when it was amazing to me that at that point my son was about 11 years old. When I walked down the hall, just from the tone of his voice, I could tell that he needed something. And after 11 years of being his dad, I had tuned my ear to my son and was able to tell when he's happy, when he's bothered, when he's sad, when he needs something. And today's text in Matthew chapter 6 tells us much the same thing about God and his relationship with us. I want you to look, as I said, in Matthew chapter 6, and it's verses 7 and 8. And Jesus is talking about prayer, but I want us to look at the last part of verse 8 after we do this. It says, in the beginning of verse 7, it says, "And when you pray, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him." What we see there is that Jesus has given us instruction that God has tuned his ear to his children. That as our Heavenly Father, he knows what we need before we even ask for it. Before we even know we need it, he knows what our need is. And so what we can take from that is that when we have difficulty, when we have just a time where we need him to provide for us in some way, he knows what we need before we even ask for it. But when we ask for it, he has tuned his ear to us as his children. He's tuned his ear to us so that he can hear us and so that he can answer us, and because he knows what we need. And so my encouragement to you today is this. If there is some need, some pressing need in your life that you know that you need God to step up and show up in a certain way, then ask for him. Ask him to help you. Ask him to deliver you. Ask him to provide for you. Ask him to do whatever you need him to do. But as you do it expecting him to move, expecting him to act. But do it knowing that if you're a child of God, if you have a relationship with him, he's tuned his ear to hear you, and he knows exactly what you need. And so I hope that this devotional this morning has helped you out. I hope that that it'll speak to your heart this morning, and I hope that you have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow for our next devotional time.